I'm sure it's a longer answer than what you want, but let me try to give you my answer. The Washington political system is broken. Everybody knows that. I think the people know that. They look at it and they see bickering and hear bickering and they don't see any action. What we have lost in this city is the ability to find common ground. Michael Bloomberg, as mayor of New York City, has been a success as mayor, an extraordinary success as mayor, because he has run a government that has sought and found common ground to solve the city's problems. If you look back through the history of this country over the last 50 years, I ask you to think of a single policy that was successful or sustainable, foreign or domestic, that didn't include some degree of common ground between the parties, whether it was the Marshall Plan in the 40s or the Highway Program in the 50s or civil rights in the 60s or Panama Canal in the 70s or the refunding of Social Security in the 80s or welfare reform in the 90s or whatever it was. And yet we have lost the ability to find or even seek common ground in the city. Michael Bloomberg is the personification of that kind of government. That's what excites me and why I believe he is a unique answer to the problems that the country has.
Sure. You're announcing this today, but you were both involved in founding Unity 08 in 2006. So is this like phase 2 of that effort, that you've been working since 2006 for a unity movement, and that you've come to the conclusion that Bloomberg is the most viable and unifying candidate around? This is like phase 2?
No, I would resist that description altogether. We did help to found Unity 08. And Unity 08 is a totally separate and distinct organization from the draft Bloomberg committee, which we're announcing today. We have resigned from Unity 08 not out of disagreement with its ultimate goals, but because it lacked the resources, as its board concluded, it lacked the resources to seek ballot access for a third party, and therefore could not achieve its objectives to hold its own online convention. Jerry and I felt that the right thing for us to do was to step away from Unity 08. We are not any longer any part of Unity 08. And while it focuses its attention, which I gather is its intentions, on pursuing its legal case against the FEC, we have stepped away entirely to form a totally distinct entity which is serving the purpose of trying to draft Michael Bloomberg for president. They are two very distinct entities. Sir?
Could you explain why you need to draft Michael Bloomberg? Why does he need your help? He seems to have an awful lot of resources. And what is it? Is there any one specific thing you expect him to do? Because you talk about confidence. I mean, is there any, single-payer health plan? I mean, is there any specific thing you expect him to do?
We have a national unity government. What's the policy?
Two different questions. And restate the first one, will you?
Why is the draft Michael Bloomberg group necessary, considering the resources he has at his disposal?
Well, I'm not sure it is necessary. I hope it is helpful in convincing him that there is a large segment of the public that perceives there to be a serious problem in the country that he is unique to help meet. And to the degree that we can be helpful in having him come to the right conclusion, which is to run for president, then we want to do everything that we can to do that. Now, and the second question was?
Is there a specific policy you have in mind? You talked a lot about confidence.
No, and not for me, and let Jerry speak for himself.
Well, I would think that it's the economy, stupid. And I would put
my chips on Michael Bloomberg with his experience, again, running a business, running a city with innovative ideas, and willing to work on a nonpartisan basis to accomplish things.
Trying the budget and crushing the poor, what's the policy? What's the policy for the economy? Is it to go to lower living standards like Mussolini did? He had a national unity government. What's his policy?
I would hope, since he's non-ideological, that we would not have an ideological approach, and that he would let us know what his policies were, and that he would run a campaign that would be based on solving problems and talking about the issues.
My answer to your question is more the nature of the issues that confront the country require the kind of leadership that he offers. When you're facing, at the same time, crucial issues such as a war on terrorism and a looming recession and an entitlement crunch of unprecedented nature because the baby boomers are now with us in terms of retirement, and failing schools, and failing parents, and an inadequate healthcare system, and an immigration issue. All of these issues are really very, very serious to this country, and frankly, we have never had a longer list of truly crucial issues confronting the country at one time in my lifetime. And yet, at the very time that that list exists, it is also true that the Washington political system is broken. That is, we cannot find common ground. Michael Bloomberg has proven in New York that he can do that, and he is the right man for the times and for the challenge that I've just described. And anybody who agrees with that, we hope will come to draftbloomberg.com or draftmichaelbloomberg.com and sign the petition and let him know that.
Yes, sir. Do you find that great resistance from either side of the aisle to a Bloomberg candidacy, or do you expect there to be resistance from one party more than another one?
This is a very, the question is, do we find more resistance from one side of the aisle than the other? I think there are people in each party who are concerned for their party and their party's chances in the election. If Mayor Bloomberg runs, they most often talk about it in terms of spoiler. One thing I feel really quite confident of is that Michael Bloomberg is not going to run for president unless he believes he can win. So it's not taking the election away from somebody else and giving it to a third person. He will run, and if he runs, he will run to win. And I believe that he absolutely can win, and that's something I hope we get into with the nature of the electorate, the independent vote, and the Electoral College, because I think he has a very significant chance of winning.
Remember, if he runs, he would be running, as we said, a nonpartisan approach. It would not be a red state, blue state strategy. Most